This episode is brought to you by Marshalls, where you never have to compromise between quality and price. The buyers at Marshalls hustle hard, working to bring you great deals on brand name and designer pieces. Because Marshalls believes everyone deserves access to the good stuff. Visit a Marshalls store near you or shop online at marshalls.com.
So good, so good, so good.
Just in, thousands of winter arrivals at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save up to 70% on coats, slippers, and cashmere from Kate Spade, New York, Vince, UGG, Levi's, and more.
Check out these boots.
They've got the best gifts.
My holiday shopping hack? Join the Nordy Club.
Get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with your Nordstrom credit card. Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Big gifts, big perks. That's why you Rack.
This is Optimal Health Daily. Macronutrient Madness. What's in your bucket? By Lawson of RogLawFitness.com. And I'm Dr. Neil Malik. Hey there, happy Saturday. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, where I act as your narrator of the best health and fitness blogs, all for free. All right, and with that, let's get right to today's post and start optimizing your life. Macronutrient Madness. What's in your bucket? By Lawson of RogLawFitness.com. All right, before we're ready to blast off, we need to do some clowning around. One of my favorite shows to watch when I was lucky enough to catch it on was the Bozo the Clown Show. The part of the show that always got me pumped up was the grand prize game. In order to win, the kid simply had to stand in place and successfully throws ping pong balls into a series of buckets that progressively were placed further and further away from him. Despite being deathly afraid of clowns at the time, Bozo was different, most likely because he gave out cool stuff to kids, and I secretly hoped he would reach through the TV screen and break me off a piece of that prize action. Sadly, I never got broken off, so I'm here to make sure the same thing never happens to you in regards to your physique goals. Buckets of fat. What is the purpose of a bucket? To hold stuff. Well, what kind of stuff? In the infamous words of The Rock, it doesn't matter. As long as it can fit into the bucket can hold it. If you ever sit by the pale moonlight and ponder life's most vexing question, you'll quickly realize that your body is just one big ol' living, breathing bucket. There are tall and wide buckets, short and thin buckets, and all sorts of variations in between. But the common denominator here is that they all need constant input in the form of food in order to keep running. While all this is nice and dandy, it also makes the task of achieving your ideal body composition a difficult one at times. Be careful of what you put into that bucket of yours. Too much of anything can cause your bucket to grow in ways and places that you want no part of. But put too little of the right things into it, and you might as well buy yourself a one-way ticket to Skeletor Island. Plan for success. I'm a big fan of making things only as complex as they need to be. I do this mainly because, in my own experience, I found that the less variables you have to try and manipulate and figure out, the better it is, at least in terms of initially getting started. Having said that, I'm a big fan of basing your current intake on the weight you'd like to be in the future, which is a method that I first discovered in Alan Aragon's research review. I'm a fan of this method for several reasons. 1, it's super practical. There are methods out there that use your percentage of lean body mass to determine how much of a certain macronutrient you should take in for your specific goal. But the main drawback of this is that there are people who don't have access to a fitness professional who can do testing, such as skin caliper readings. Even if they do have access, the margin of error between certain body composition methods can be so large that it may not even give you much reliable feedback to begin with, especially if you happen to have a lot of fat to lose. You're also going to have to adjust these numbers based off your results anyway, so don't spend too much time trying to get too sexy in figuring out your starting point. 2, it's easily applicable. Almost everyone has, at the very least, a slight inkling of the body weight they're aiming for. And 3, all of the number crunching can be done in less than 2 minutes, and no matter how busy you are, you have that amount of time to do some planning for your success. Get your eat on. Protein, the constant. 4 calories per gram. For men, if your goal is fat loss or muscle gain, aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of target body weight. Sexification note: I imagine that women could get away with a bit less protein, about 0.8 grams of protein per pound of target body weight due to higher levels of body fat. But when in doubt, you could always stick with the 1 gram of protein per pound recommendation. I'd rather someone get a little too much protein than not enough. Example: Rog Law has a target body weight of 185 pounds. Therefore, he will have an intake of 185 grams of protein, which equates to 740 calories, or 185 grams times 4 calories per gram equals 740 calories. Fat, the greasy guardian, 9 calories per gram. Both sexes, regardless of your goal, aim for 0.4 to 0.5 grams of fat per pound of target body weight. That's a good starting point. For example, Rog Law again has a target body weight of 185 pounds. Therefore, he will have an intake of between 74 and 93 grams of fat, which comes out to between 666 and 837 calories. Carbohydrate, the underappreciated underdog, 4 calories per gram. Now, simply subtract the number of fat and protein calories from your fat loss calorie level that you figured out earlier. After doing so, divide that number by 4 to figure out your carbohydrate grams. For example, Rog Law sits on his butt cheeks all day, so he's calculated his fat loss calories by multiplying his target body weight of 185 pounds by 9. 185 pounds times 9 equals 1,665 calories. Now we take that 1,665 calories and subtract the fat calories and protein calories we calculated earlier. So 1,665 calories minus 666 calories from fat minus 740 calories from protein equals 259 calories. This is the remaining amount of calories that we can consume from carbohydrate. Now, to convert that into actual grams of carbohydrates we can consume, take that remaining 259 calories and divide it by 4. 259 calories divided by 4 calories per gram equals 65 grams of carbohydrate. So this would be an example of a non-training day. On resistance or interval training days, you could experiment with adding an extra 50 to 200 grams of carbohydrates, mainly around training time. Yes, there is that much individual variability, so let your goals and results dictate how much you add in here. If you find that you're putting on fat too fast, reduce your carbs and fats systematically until you find that sweet spot where you're seeing that scale creep up, but not so quickly that a ton of blubber comes along for the ride. Likewise, if you're not losing fat as quickly as you'd like to be, you can follow the same progression. Just keep in mind that as your calorie level and carbohydrate intake drop, your protein requirement increases. If you don't feel like upping your protein, make sure that you get at least 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, since carbohydrates tend to spare protein, which helps protect your lean muscle mass from being gobbled up in the presence of reduced carbohydrate intake and a large caloric deficit. You just listened to the post titled Macronutrient Madness, What's in Your Bucket? By Roger Lawson of RogLawFitness.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
The holidays have arrived at the Home Depot, and we're here to help bring the excitement with decor for every part of your home. Check out our wide assortment of easy-to-assemble pre-lit trees so you can spend less time setting up and more time celebrating. And bring your holiday spirit outdoors with unique decor like one of our Santa inflatables. Whatever your style, find the right pieces at the right prices this holiday season at the Home Depot.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. When I was looking to hire, it was so slow and overwhelming. I wish I had used Indeed. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Dr. Neil here for my commentary. I was rewatching a fitness documentary the other day. I was feeling a little sluggish and wanted some motivation to hit the gym and get in a workout. And at some point during the documentary, an athlete was being interviewed and they were showing a montage of them preparing their breakfast. In that montage, they showed the athlete weighing out portions of each of their breakfast foods on a kitchen scale. They weighed their banana slices, their dried oatmeal, and so on. From there, they would calculate how much fat, protein, carbohydrate, and total calories they would be consuming with that meal. Now, this is an extreme example of someone making sure that they're hitting their nutrient and calorie targets. In fact, I encourage everyone to try weighing and portioning their food for just 3 days, at least once in their lives. I do this for 2 reasons. One, it's an unforgettable learning experience about how much food we actually eat or don't eat. And 2, you'll quickly learn what one portion of most foods actually are. But if this is something you're not interested in trying, luckily, Roger gave us some shortcuts in today's article. So if you don't want to spend the time weighing each of your foods, you can spend a lot less time and quickly do the math that Roger recommended. And that will get you pretty close to your targets. No weighing, no kitchen scale required. All right, that'll do it for today. I hope you're having a great weekend if you're listening in real time. And of course, I'll see you back here tomorrow as usual, where your optimal life awaits.